In this video, we're going to install a servo motor on this industrial sewing machine, and we're going to learn together because the instructions, well, there weren't any instructions. So let's figure it out together. First thing I would like to do here is go ahead and pull this belt off. I don't know if this belt's going to work with the kit that we have, but we shall see. So I've already unplugged it, and now we need to pull off the control box. And now we've got staples holding all the wires in. I've also got my light wired in separately here, so I'm going to have to undo that. This is not a normal thing to have the light like this inside this box, but mine is because I'm not a normal person. Okay, now we want to pull these staples. Okay, mine happens to be hand tight, but you would want to use a wrench typically to pull that off. And see what size mine is. And it's a little bit smaller than a 7/16. And a little bit bigger than a 3/8. So what is that, a 10 millimeter maybe? So I'm going to tighten this because I don't want it to be flopping around when I'm removing it. Oh, it's not going to work. Okay. We lovingly call these all 16ths here in the States. Now the tool that I'm going to use to loosen up the bolts on the motor is this. It's got a ratcheting end, which is really nice for this application because you can't fit a socket wrench in there, and this is pretty nice to be able to loosen that. I'm going to loosen all these just a little bit. At this point, this motor is loose, so there's space between these rubber spacers and the top and the table. And what I want to do is use this as leverage to help so that I don't hurt myself by dropping this motor onto my hands or my feet or whatever. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these back two in, and I'm going to loosen the front one. Might be able to do it by hand at this point. Yep. So you can just loosen this by hand. Take it all the way out. Now you've got this bolt going through. You want to get that bolt out of there, so push it up, pull it out. So now this thing is teetering on these two bolts in the back. And if you notice, they're they're like forks. So what I can do is I can pick up the motor, pull the weight of the motor, and move it this way and pull it out. It almost just slid out right there. But I want to pick it up, I want to have control of the motor and slide it this way so I can get it out. So now that I have this bolt out over here in the front, I'm pushing down on the back to hold the motor in, and I've loosened these, so now I can push the motor forward while I'm holding the weight of the motor, and it'll come out right into my hands. Just like that. So that's how you remove the motor. This hardware may get reused, but I'm going to pull it off for now. Because it's time to open up our kit and see what we have in the kit. Okay, I'm going to reuse the old pedal connection there. You got a shroud. This is so that, that's for the needle positioner, so that this thing will know where the needle is. And here's your hardware. Okay, we got the brains of the operation right here. That's your controller, which has all the controls there, all the connections in the back. That's your switch, so that goes, the switch right here, that's going to go between the foot pedal and the motor, and then the motor is going to connect over here. And here's our motor. The only piece of paper that's included in this is a piece of paper that tells you how to use the controller. There is nothing to tell you how to install this. So let's see if we can figure it out together. So what I've done here is I put the motor onto the motor bracket, and there's a big bolt that goes in between, so you have a bolt, lock washer, regular washer, and now all I'm doing is I'm going to tighten this down. So far the kit that I have looks like it does not have something to tension your belt with. It just uses the friction here. So once you tighten this up, you'd have to loosen it again in order to adjust your belt tension. And we'll tighten that good and tight once we get it on the table. So the next step is going to be putting this motor section on the table, and then we're also going to put the controller on the table, and we'll put them together and see how they do. Now when I put this together, I'm using these bolts right here, and then what I'm going to do is I want rubber between the motor and the table, and so the next thing to go on here is going to be these rubber grommets. And then you do washer, lock washer, nut. Washer, lock washer, nut. Not nearly as heavy as the one we pulled out of here. So you can do the same thing though. You slide it in, hold it up with one hand, washer, lock washer and nut. You want to align the pulley so that you can see it when you look down through the hole in the table. So I'm going to look through the hole, and I should see that that pulley is aligned with my upper pulley, and it is not. It needs to come this way, so I could scooch it a little bit more. Now we're aligned. Now we can tighten it down. And these are 14 millimeter nuts. Now we have the controller. Just needs to go right where you operate it from, right about there. And I'm going to drill some pilot holes and then put some screws in. Where you can adjust your foot pedal height. You just want to make sure that when you go stomp on it, you actually get full speed. Now we want to attach our different pieces. So for your cable management, what the kit comes with are 4 of these little deals right here to hold your cables in place. I'm not a big fan of those. I actually buy bags of these. These are much easier to use. Use a screw to hold them in, and I'll just put a couple of those up here. Leave one right here in the corner. And one right here. The idea here is you want to make sure that these cables are not going to hit your belt. That would be a bad day. This is a 3L440 belt, 440. So it's 44 inches long. I believe the one that was on there was 46 inches long. And there we go. Got some tension. The belt is nice and centered in the hole. And I need to tighten it down. And like I said, I missed that motor that would just hold the proper tension on the belt by its weight. So we'll give this a try without the needle positioner installed and see how it works. All right, that seems to work. I'm excited. So today I just got something made for me from Spreadshirt. So you may not have noticed, but at the bottom of these videos, the past few videos that I've made, there are links for Spreadshirt where you can order merchandise that I put on. And this is the first time I've gotten some of my own merch from Spreadshirt. The other thing about Spreadshirt that I love is that you can customize it. You don't have to stick with my design. On there, I put on designs for sewing machine repair guy, but also, if you didn't notice, take a look on there because I've noticed that most of my audience are not male, and so you can choose to have sewing machine repair gal, where I lined out, put a line across guy, and then put gal in there just for you. So here's the first thing, you get to customize them. So I put my name on these. So yours won't come with my name on it, but it will come with the logo. Oh, look at this. Wow, that's cool. So this is a water bottle. It's one of those aluminum water bottles. It's got like the little plastic drink your straw thingy. And look at that logo, isn't that cool? It's got my name on it. I think this is awesome. I had to stop filming the video I'm working on right now just because I saw that this was delivered. So I wanted to check it out. This other one, this is one of those camping coffee cups. So I got this because this will be in a bunch of videos, and I'm probably going to keep some tools or something in here. But again, I put my name on there. Yours won't have my name unless you want to put my name on there. But you can customize each one that you get. That's why I went with them, with Spreadshirt, instead of the other people you can go with. And I think that's really cool. So this is one of those metal cups, and what I intend on doing is just leaving some tools in there and having this out while I do videos. What do you think? And I'm going to drink some water while I'm at it. Stay hydrated. There's a lot of other things on there. There's a lot of clothing. So I didn't get the clothing because I typically wear this on videos. Just something I wanted to stop and show you real quick. Check out the links below the video, and Spreadshirt is a pretty cool little website. Let's get back to the video. For the needle positioner, this one is a little bit more janky, so if you don't need it, I wouldn't get it. It's not as easy to attach. So this one actually works out great on my machine. My machine has this piece right here on the wheel on the inside that fits perfectly. I'm not sure that every machine would do that. And then the next step is how to attach this. So I believe the idea is that you sandwich this piece like this, and then this will end up going on like this, but this has to be mounted somewhere. So what I did was I have a guard right here for the belt, and there's a screw on there, so I put this bracket, which came in the kit, on here. So now I need to bend this, do a 90-degree bend, so that this will attach to this, and it'll hold it in place so that this will always know where the needle is and be able to tell the computer that. Here's a tool tip. You ever see these Allen wrenches that have the ball on the end and wonder what that's for? Well, when you can't get straight on to that screw because there's something in your way, that ball allows you to get to it on an angle and be able to turn it. Now you can't get a lot of force on that angle, but it allows you to get it close enough by hand so that once it does seat, you can go through with the other end that has a bunch of leverage and tighten it up. All right, the last thing we got to do here to get this thing so it'll work the way we want it to is we have to calibrate the needle positioner, because right now it thinks the needle is down all the way when it's not. So what I've found out here is with this one, whenever this light right here is on, that's when it thinks the needle is down. So that's how we're gonna set this, and hopefully that's the way to do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen the set screws that are holding this thing to the sewing machine. And we're just gonna fool it into thinking that the sewing machine moved when it didn't, or something. So that should be all the way up. The needle down, and that should be all the way down. Let's go back up. I'm liking it. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video, and I'm going to give you a little insight as to how this particular modification on this sewing machine was really touching to me in my life. Wow, that was awesome. This thing is working great with this servo motor, and I can't wait to do the next video, which is going to show you the differences between the servo motor and the clutch motor that we had. So we're going to see what the differences in control, the speed control are, and maybe some other differences that we don't know yet. So we'll find out in the next video. I hope you'll stay tuned in. But before we go, I just want to make sure that I cover a few important things about these servo motors. The first one is that these servo motors may not last as long as you would like. So if you're doing this at home, you have an industrial machine because you use it every once in a while for some projects, or maybe some Etsy, you're selling things online, I think it would be fine. If you're in an industrial environment, these servo motors are not known to last long, especially the ones that they're kind of a no-name company. So one thing to take a look at is if you need it to work all the time, I'm not sure that I would go with one of these servo motors that you find that are no-name company. Hey, the second thing that I want to make sure that I touch on is that clutch motor is heavy. So I was able to take it off the machine, and even though I almost did drop it, and you saw that in the video, I know you did. So you got to be very careful with these clutch motors. Some people have put like pillows underneath or something to catch it just in case it fell. So just be careful if you're going to do this on your own. The third thing, we were able to do this without flipping the table upside down. We also didn't touch the machine. The machine stayed exactly where it was. And when you watch a lot of videos online about this, they take the machine off the table first when you don't really have to. We didn't flip the machine upside down. We didn't do anything. We did it where it stood in the shop. So if I can do it, you can do it. Good luck. If you want to buy a servo motor similar to the one that I just installed, there's a link below where you can purchase this on Amazon. Now this link is not for the exact same motor because I couldn't find it, but it's a very similar one, and if you click on that link and use it to purchase this motor, the channel will get a little bit small percentage of that income to help support us and continue to allow us to buy other things to do videos on. Also, my new merch store is open, and you can get to that store just below this video. You'll see pictures of some of the things that are available. There are bags, t-shirts, all kinds of things that you can order. And I've got hoodies, I've got all kinds of stuff. So take a look at that if you're interested in having some sewing machine repair guy swag. We now have a store. The last thing I'd like to leave you with is how this particular project really tugs on my heart. This machine right here, if you don't know, this was my dad's machine, and he's no longer with us. And modifying this machine is something that I know my dad would have appreciated. The modification that we did to make this more controllable. In the upholstery that he did, he reupholstered furniture. He also made blinds, drapery treatments, all those sort of things. And he just used this machine all the time doing those sort of projects, really large projects for churches and things like that. I know that he would have appreciated this modification to his machine because it would have given him more control to have a wider range of projects that he could use it for. Because this machine is really a straight stitch, fast machine with that clutch motor installed. When you put a servo motor on here, you can go slower and you can do more projects using this machine, and I know that my dad would have appreciated it, and I feel like it brought me a little closer to him just working on this machine again. I've done a lot to this machine because we got it out of a garage in Florida where it had been for over 20 years just collecting rust, and the tabletop is new, the legs have been powder coated, it's the same legs and frame and everything on this. It just brings me closer to my dad anytime I get to use this machine, work on this machine, or incorporate it so that I can share it with you. Thanks for watching.